So hi, welcome back to Mountain Boys, coming to you from Southwest Montana. And today I'm going to talk a little bit more about bear spray. You know, on the channel here I've talked quite a bit about carrying bear spray in the woods, you know, how I choose to carry it and everything like that in my chest pack, chest holster here. But what I want to talk about today is storage and transportation of your bear spray, especially when it's not on your person. So there are some special considerations for that, and probably the biggest one is that we want to avoid accidental discharge and contamination from the bear spray. So this is really, really nasty stuff, and it's meant to be. You don't want this going off or leaking in your vehicle, in your house, or in your office. So it's probably the number one consideration for storage and transport of bear spray is how are we going to prevent it from leaking and getting that accidental contamination. So another thing is we want to provide a way for the canister to stay in good functioning order. We don't want this thing to get unduly beat up. You know, this is something that we're going to depend on when we're in the field. So we want to treat it as such. You know, if quite literally our life is going to depend on our bear spray, then I think we need to give some consideration to how we store and transport it appropriately. And the final thing is here, in case there is a leak or a rupture of your bear spray, how are we going to provide some secondary and primary containment of the active ingredients in here, the 2% OC, as well as the propellants and carriers that are inside here. This is nasty stuff. You don't want to come in contact with it. So those three things being said, avoiding contamination, keeping this from getting beat up, and providing a redundant layer of containment for it. What does that really lead you to? Well, that leads you to a hard-sided container for these. Now, there are some that are commercially available. Counter Assault produces one. They call it the Cozy Tote. It runs about $25, but I will tell you that it's harder to find just out and about at your local outdoors or sporting goods store. A lot of times they'll carry the bear spray, but they won't have those Cozy Tote containers. So you can go on Counter Assault's website and you can get one there. But if you want to go the do-it-yourself method, I would recommend getting a stick of 3-inch Schedule 40 PVC pipe. You only need probably, well, really as far as the PVC pipe it goes, you probably need less than a foot for one canister of bear spray. You need an end cap, and you need a clean out cap with a threaded end. So this is what I would consider a really good hard-sided travel and storage container for your bear spray. If you're not going to go this route, the bare minimum that I would recommend, and this is how I pack my bear spray canisters in here, is in a Ziploc bag wrapped in a little towel. This is probably what I would consider, like I said, the absolute bare minimum for storing and transporting your bear spray. The thing about this though is that it won't really protect it from falls and knocks and bangs, etc. So really you need to come up with a hard-sided solution for your safety as well as others. And I don't even know what would happen to a vehicle if a can of bear spray went off in the vehicle, if you'd be able to clean that up or not. I'm sure you would. I'm sure it would dissipate over time, but that would be a royal pain in the butt. So going back to the canister here, like I mentioned, you need less than a foot of your 3-inch PVC pipe itself, a 3-inch end cap, and a 3-inch clean out cap with a threaded end. So you'll also need a hacksaw to cut the pipe to length, as well as some PVC primer, the purple primer, and PVC cement. So if you notice here, right along the inside edge, you see how it looks a little purple? Well, that's from the primer that I put on both sides of the PVC before I put the cement on there. So once you put the primer on, you let it cure a little bit, you put your cement on, you put your cap on at that point, get it nice and on, and give it about a quarter turn tight twist. That'll really seal up PVC very nicely. So another tip for you here is on that clean out cap. These are notoriously easy to over tighten and get stuck on here. So little pro tip there is to stick some beeswax on the threads, and that'll do two things. That'll lubricate the threads so you can get it on and off easier, and you'll also get a better seal on your canister. Now, I kind of went above and beyond, so you know, I wrote bear spray on there, and I made a warning label that I taped onto here, and all this information came right off the SDS, or the safety data sheet, for the bear spray. So in this case, this was for UDAP bear spray, and so I have the trade name there, I have the caution symbols, I have the warning statement or the caution statement. In this case, it's warning. I have all the different breakdown of propellants and everything else that are inside that bear spray. And then I have just very, very basic first aid information on there. So this is not a replacement for those of you who have to carry these for work and are required to have SDS sheets of all your various stuff. It's not a replacement for having your SDS, but I think it's also a good practice to put a label like this on your bear spray container, because, well, you don't want to give people the wrong impression with something like this. So another note about storing and transporting is when you put it in, always put your bear spray in nozzle down. So that'll prevent any settling in the bear spray. It'll prevent your pickup tube in there from getting clogged, and it'll basically mean when you need it, it'll be able to spray. So if you store it right side up, there's a good chance that some of that material could all settle out to the bottom, and then the instant you go to discharge it, it clogs and malfunctions. So good rule of thumb is just always store them nozzle down, and then, you know, give them a good shake and everything when you're ready to use it. Storage temperature is another thing. Don't leave these in a hot vehicle over the summer. You know, I think they even say on the canisters themselves, don't store anywhere in excess of 120 degrees. Well, a vehicle in the summertime is going to get a lot warmer than that. And you also want to try to keep them from freezing. It's a little trickier, I feel like, on the freezing portion of it, because a lot of times that we're carrying it, you know, we're out in the mountains and temperatures get cold up here, you know, especially in the mornings, and there could be days where it's, you know, definitely below freezing when we're out and about. Will that impact its effectiveness and the distance that the bear spray is able to go? Maybe, probably. But I tend to break the storage rule, I guess you would say, on the lower temperature more than I would on the higher temperature. And another thing, I just, when I get home at night, you know, this comes back inside with me. You know, I don't leave this in a vehicle to sit out in sub-zero weather for, you know, days at a time or overnight or something like that. So it at least comes in with me at night, and when I'm carrying it in the field, you know, it's on my chest, and maybe there's a little bit of radiant body heat, you know, helping to get stay above that 32-degree threshold. I don't know. But anyway, if you have any comments, you know, go ahead and post those down below. I'd love to hear any of your tips and tricks for storing and transporting bear spray in a safe manner. And if you're not subscribed, please think about doing that. And I'll see you next time.